Good evening, welcome to The Cut. I'm Craig Shelton, I'm your host, and this is UTN 43.8, which means you're in the right place. Tonight in studio, we got my man Will Lyles from HMW. Will, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Richard Walker in studio, how you doing tonight?
Doing good as always.
And we have Mantal Te'o's girlfriend in studio tonight.
Right here.
Right there. How you doing, ma'am? Good. Nice hair. No doubt. We get it started with Mantal Te'o tonight. If you haven't been paying attention and you wonder why we suddenly went into this collective effort of pantomime with me and my man Richard over here, it's because the biggest story in sports, and it's a story that I really don't know why it's a story, but we'll talk about it nevertheless. He was a guy that was in the spotlight just a couple of weeks back, Mantal Te'o, inside linebacker from Notre Dame. Up for the Heisman Trophy was obviously Johnny Manziel from Texas A&M. Took that Heisman Trophy home, making it a really good inaugural season into the SEC for Kevin Sumlin and the Texas A&M Aggies. But this story is broken all over the place. Everybody's talking about it. It's the girlfriend that didn't exist. Mantal Te'o, was he the victim of a horrible hoax? This is a situation where he's actually involved with it and just kind of took advantage of the situation and just kind of took the media for a little ride along the way. Guys, before we get into it, and you creeping me out over there.
I have to calm Miss Tail down. I mean, she's a little, you talking about her man, man. You put a man
your
on
hands
blast.
off that white woman, you gonna go to jail. All right, it's still America. You ain't hire no black coaches this week. You don't want to mess around.
That's a new shade of white.
Got
It's clear.
clear. That's like Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
And before we get going into this, I want to commend you on that purple shirt. No doubt.
Thank you.
Matter of fact, we shining with shirts tonight on this.
Right.
Think about it. Let's do this. Will and Richard, before we even get into this, and I know you guys got a lot to say about this topic.
Oh, yeah.
Here's my deal with the Mantal Te'o situation. It shouldn't be a story, folks. Sports is dominated by men. And we're going to talk about men dominating sports tonight, because I got a question in a later segment about this male-dominated industry I want you folks to answer. But when you think about a culture that's dominated by us, we, the testosterone-filled men of this earth, but we gossip like little women. In fact, I was raised by women, strong sisters. I don't ever recall them gossiping the way that we gossip when it comes to sports. A story about a 20-something-year-old college kid getting duped over an imaginary girlfriend, it should not be of interest to us, but we've been sucked into it. So let's go ahead and talk about it now. This is the question, folks, and what we do on the show, we put these questions out on these topics on Facebook and on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at CraigHMW, on Facebook at CraigHMW Shelton. And I may have said that Twitter handle wrong, but it's Craig Shelton HMW if I did. Here's the question we put out. If the allegations surrounding Mantal Te'o and his alleged deceased girlfriend are proven to be fabricated by Te'o with deceitful intent, should NFL teams be concerned about the character of Te'o? Now, this is a two-part question. I won't even ask you the second part of it yet. We can have fun with all the silly stuff about this, but for Mantal Te'o, this is going to be about dollars and cents when we get to the 2013 draft. Will Lyles.
Well, I really don't feel that it will affect his draft status as much. Alabama already took care of that.
Explain for the listeners. I know what you mean, but explain.
Basically, I feel that the Alabama game showed deficiencies in his game to play against an NFL caliber offensive line, which is something he didn't have to play against all season long. And when he reached Alabama, they took him to the woodshed. So everyone's looking at that film right now. I think that has more of an effect on his draft status than this fake hoax girlfriend.
So you think people
issue.
are looking at the film from the national championship game where the entire Notre Dame team got beat up on? So if your defensive front four are being dominated by an Alabama front, which is practically an NFL front line, which means these guards and tackles are able to get to the second level and put pads on smaller linebackers, I just disagree. See, I disagree that there's a resume of Mantal Te'o before that game. He's a pretty good football player. It's not like Alabama is the only team he's played in his years at Notre Dame that had NFL level talent on the team. I just don't buy that particular point of the argument.
Yeah, personally, I feel that he got exposed. He got exposed. That was probably the best team in his 4 years at Notre Dame that
So
he's
that was
played
all
against.
about Manti Te'o?
No, it wasn't just all about Manti Te'o, but he got dominated. The whole team got dominated, but he got dominated also.
Well, I saw him miss some tackles. I saw him make some tackles. He didn't have a good football game. The entire roster got dominated. I think what we do, people, I think we look for somebody to blame. I don't think there's a single story that we can have in life that what's the minister over at the big church over there used to be the Summit?
Osteen.
Joel Osteen. Somebody called Joel Osteen a false prophet on Twitter the other day. We were talking football, and somebody made a Joel Osteen reference, you know. And my point I'm making, we find something wrong with everything. It's not a lot you can find wrong with the career of Manti Te'o.
I would say the career of Manti Te'o was bad. Let me tell you, this is why I say what I'm saying. They hyped him up so big when it came to the national stage, he did not perform.
The entire team
didn't perform. But the entire team didn't perform. But who was the face of that team?
I just can't buy that argument. I get your argument. Let me put it to you, and we're going to get to Richard. Let me put it to you in this turn. You are a guy that represent college athletes. You represent guys, you get kids ready to go from the high school level to the college level. Will, I know you. If Manti Te'o was one of your kids, talk to these viewers on this show and put the spin on that game that you would have spin on it if he was one of your kids. Get ready.
This is how I'm looking at it. You got Manti Te'o, you got Jarvis Jones, the two best linebacker prospects in the draft. You look at the body of work that Jarvis Jones had, which is very similar to Georgia. Which is very similar.
There's two linebackers in football. The best one is not coming out this year, but we don't have to go there yet.
Exactly. But we're talking about who's going to get picked first between those guys. We're talking about draft stock. That game hurt Te'o because when Jarvis Jones played against that same Alabama team, he outplayed him.
I agree in principle that game.
But we're talking about draft status between
that game will affect
those
his
people.
draft status more than what I asked on this question.
Right.
But where you went with it on the second level, we just had a disagreement on that. Yeah. Richard.
Well, I think kind of to piggyback off Will's point, I think the NFL draft is mostly a what have you done for me lately kind of thing. And those scouts are going to they're going to start with his most recent film, the end of his career. The last impression he left was that, I don't even know what you call that, performance against Alabama. I know what you call it. I don't think we can say that on here. But to your point, back to the original question as to whether or not this is going to impact his draft stock, I think it will. Because one of the things that NFL scouts, I think, are looking for now is they're looking to get away from these weird character guys with all these flaws in the traits.
No, that's fact. NFL teams
that's
don't
fact.
Like weird.
They are on a no more BS mindset. And so this guy brings this, if it's in fact true that he's involved,
it's too late, even if it's not true.
Yeah. I mean, even if it's not true, the fact of the matter is he's stupid. Does he even get caught up in it? He should get a special license for stupidity or something like that for even being involved in this.
Well, no, I think back at 22.
Hey, Craig, at 22, would you have been in a relationship with somebody for 3 years that you never met? No, I don't think so. Nobody's that stupid.
I decline to speak on that.
Well, at least you'd have seen him in person, if that makes sense.
You have a point there.
So I mean,
let's close it out. Go ahead.
Yeah, you add the character issues in addition to the fact that the last impression of this guy we got was he was on his back most of the night against that Alabama offense. I say it's going to impact his draft stock.
Okay, I disagree with both of these guys, and I think that's clear. We'll go ahead and go to Twitter and go to Facebook, and we'll go to our correspondent for our social media here on The Cut, Alicia Stewart, and see what they had to say.